Hey guys, it's William here, and today we're going to be talking about something really important. That is GBM and glioblastoma. It is a very aggressive form of brain cancer, and you probably know something about it if you're watching this video, or on the rare occasion you're not here because you looked that particular cancer up. You're here because you know me from my other channel, and I say rare because people who know me on that channel know me for my electronic videos, and if you're here for this, that's awesome. It's always good to learn more about these things. I knew nothing about this cancer before I was diagnosed with it. So for this video today, I'm going to be talking about my diagnosis story. If you have any questions or want more details, definitely shoot a comment down below. I've gone through a lot over the past few months since I've been diagnosed. I've had surgeries. One surgery. I've had a surgery, and I've gone through radiation, and I'm currently about to start full-time chemo for the first 5 days. I'll get into all that stuff. I'm probably going to dedicate videos to each of the in-depth things, like one about all the radiation, one about the hospital I went to, all that kind of stuff, so you can learn more and not just have one long 30-minute video with all the details of me forgetting things. So this video will specifically be about how I was diagnosed with it, and yeah, so let's get to it. I had no warning signs for this. They say if you do have warning signs for GBM, it's usually headaches. I love my things turning up. It's either headaches or slightly slurred speech, and both of those will get worse and worse until you finally go to the doctor and they're like, oh, by the way, you have cancer. So yeah, I did not have those that I know of. I mean, nobody pointed out, hey, you have slurred speech, and I've barely had headaches my entire life. I actually, maybe once a year do I have a headache. And so I did not notice an increase of those. I definitely would have pointed that out to a doctor because, like I said, I've never had those really. And so it's the beginning of the fall semester of 2018. I meet with a friend a couple hours before class. We're hanging out. We go get a smoothie. It's the middle of the day, about 2 in the afternoon really, and I'm doing fine. I have no side effects, and after we're done hanging out for a little bit, drinking our smoothies in the car, she gets up to say, hey, I gotta go to my class. I'm like, all right, well, I gotta go too. It's getting close. We both get out of the car, and the moment I stand up out of the car, and mind you, I've already gotten up and done things at this point in the day, but this is the first time that I got up out of the car since having the smoothie, and I was like, oh crap, I don't feel good at all. I had a really bad headache, and it was unlike any headache I'd ever felt before. And my whole neck was stiff, and I couldn't really turn my body without it being in a lot of pain. And I was like, oh, this feels really weird. I didn't really understand what was going on, but I walked to class anyways. Like, nah, it's the beginning of the semester, I'm not missing any classes. I get to the door of the classroom at my university, and I'm in so much pain. And I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it. It's not worth it sitting through class being in pain. I don't know what this is. I'm guessing it's something to do with the smoothie. I might have a weird reaction. I also felt really nauseous, like I was going to throw up. I was like, you know what? This is not great. I'm not going to class. So before I head home, I go to the bathroom first because I'm like, better make sure that I'm not throwing up in my car. I didn't throw up in the bathroom. I made it to my car, and then my body's like, oh, now you need to vomit. It was great. It was so much fun. If it seems like I'm making light of this situation, I kind of am, because that's what really helped me get through a lot of this, and I'll talk about this in other videos too, but just having a positive attitude, really. Of course, I was not smiling at the time because I was throwing up in my car, and also what kind of annoyed me is there's a woman in the car next to me who saw me throwing up but didn't come ask if I was okay. Which, I mean, it's not her job. It's not anyone's job if you see someone throwing up to say, hey, are you doing all right? But I just figure you would do that. You know, that seems like a natural thing. Anyways, I did what I should not have done. I drove to my apartment. It was only 5 minutes away, but I probably should not have been driving with all these conditions going on. The throwing up, the massive headache, the stiff neck, the dizziness that was setting in. But I made it home. I crawled into bed, and it just so happened, I mean, I already knew this at the time, but people were surprised by this. my family, my parents were from out of town. They were on their way to come visit that day. And so they call me and they're like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, oh, not great. I'm not doing well. And they're like, well, we were going to go to where we're staying, but we're going to stop at your place first and check on you. I was in bed all day. I was miserable. I threw up maybe one or two more times, and the light hurt. Everything hurt. And my parents got there. I said, should we take you to the emergency room? Should we take you to a clinic? What's going on? I was like, I don't know. I'd rather not go anywhere. Let's just stay here. So my dad spent the night with me at my apartment. I was miserable, did not want to get up, because even to go to the bathroom, because every time I got up out of bed, boom, headaches, throbbing, neck in so much pain. Laying down for a long amount of time was the only way that I could like stabilize, and even then I was still miserable. So the next day comes around. I thought I felt a little better, but still not doing great. And so my parents and my grandparents are here, and they're like, you know what? We're just going to take you to the emergency clinic. I said, okay. Get to the emergency clinic. Still not doing great. They check my blood pressure, and they're like, listen, you could meet with a doctor right now here, but they're going to tell you what I'm going to tell you right now, and we're not going to charge you for this because you just need to get out of here. Your blood pressure is through the roof. I believe it was 240, 250, and I was like, oh, that's really bad. And they said that would explain your headaches, and that would explain your throwing up. It's your body not dealing well with the headaches. So all this is going on. They're like, you just need to go to the emergency room. We get in the car. I sadly don't make it to the emergency room without throwing up some more. Get to the emergency room. They get me laid down in the bed, and they're doing all these tests and checking on me. And at this point, I'm still like, man, this is really bad food poisoning from that shake. It wasn't the shake, sadly. I really wish it was, because then I would just, it'd be easy. The solution would have been to stop having shakes. Wasn't the solution. So for about 8-9 days, I was in the emergency room. The ICU. It was not fun. It really was not fun. That's the longest amount of time I've ever been in a hospital, for myself especially. And I don't wish that on anybody. It was not fun. It wasn't torture because it was a very nice hospital. The staff was incredible. It was not fun because who wants to be in a hospital? So they're like, okay, we're going to do a biopsy on your brain because they did CAT scans, they did MRIs, so like we're just going to do a biopsy. And so they do a biopsy, and they're like, okay, it's going to take a little bit for us to get this back to you. What's going on in there? But we can tell you right now that you're having bleeding in the brain bleeding, and the blood is not draining as it should, is building up. And that's why you're having so many headaches. And so, of course, over the next few days, it did correctly drain, which was really nice. They said because, and this is afterwards we learned this, because the tumor was causing so much pressure that it eventually burst and caused the blood to pool, and that's what happened. They say that doesn't happen with every case. That doesn't happen with every person. So you may have the route of course, you might have a seizure, you might have slurred speech, and you might have headaches. Not everybody has the brain bleed. But I feel lucky to have that because it caught it months earlier than if I had not had that, and of course had the other side effects. So I'm in the hospital for about 9 days. Not fun at all. It was funny. I don't remember the first 3 days at all. And for a while, I was like, why don't I remember these days? And my parents were like, yeah, you were in so much pain that you kept telling them morphine. And so in my whole life, I've only been on a 1 to 10 scale. I hate those scales, by the way, that doctors give you. But a 1 to 10 scale, I was always a 6 is the max I feel like I've ever felt. I've maybe felt a 10 once. And even with this headache, I didn't count it that high. Apparently, I did at some point because for those 3 days, I was on nothing but morphine because I kept telling them I was a 10, over and over. And I don't remember that, so I'm happy that the morphine worked. I lost a lot of weight while I was in the hospital. I didn't wear my glasses, so my vision got really messed up. All this fun stuff. So eventually, I get out of the hospital. It takes me a few days to recover in terms of my body just being in bed all the time and barely moving. And eventually, the doctor calls us back. I think it was a week later. It took a week to get the results. And they tell me, you have GBM, glioblastoma. I think grade 4 is what they said. And I didn't really understand what that meant the moment he said that. He was very sad when he said it, and my parents started to choke up. And so I knew it wasn't great. Doctor leaves the room, and of course, emotions flow. And I was like, since my parents are sad, it must not be that great. I'm sad too. But all in all, that's really, besides that, and then one more time that night, those are the only 2 times that I got really emotional about my illness. And like I said, I wanted to do a whole video on the emotions and the processing I went through all this, because I feel like that's really important. But yeah, that's how I was diagnosed with glioblastoma. My side effects were the rare, kind, and we'll definitely get into. That's awesome. I love that so much. I love that I got the rare side effect because it really did catch it sooner. They said with this type of cancer, catching it sooner doesn't always mean that you have a better chance. But, I mean, if someone's like, oh, we caught it sooner rather than later, I just assume that's a good thing, The sooner you know about something, the better, I think. Because you can attack it and work on it at a quicker pace. I'll wrap it up real fast. And I'll continue at another video talking about the next steps. But the doctor we met with said, I will not recommend surgery because it could incapacitate you for life. You might be like, brain dead pretty much, not be able to move your body, not be able to speak. Because if we go to remove it, we would go through an area of your brain that would hurt your speech. And thankfully, we went and got a second opinion at MD Anderson in Houston. And the surgeon there surprised me and my entire family by saying, oh no, I can do surgery. We can go through a part of the brain that will not affect you at all, and I'm pretty sure I can get 85+% of it removed. And he removed 99% of it with surgery, so that's incredible. But like I said, all for another video instead of me just rambling for this one. I don't even know how long this one is going. But thank you so much for watching this. If you have been diagnosed with GBM or your family member has and you have any questions, I know more than I knew before, which was nothing, but I don't know a whole lot, but I could definitely put you in the right direction, hopefully, to help you know more about this. But I can guarantee you contacting MD Anderson might be the best thing you do in this situation, because they are truly incredible. And I would say for all I know, but I want to say yes, for sure, they saved my life pretty much, and it's incredible. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to this channel if you want more information about GBM and my journey through this process. It's been insane, but I held together. My family held together, and all in all, I'm really happy that it all has worked out so far. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.